Alright, today I'm going to be showing you how to remove a prop shaft or a middle drive gear. It's got the bevel gear assembly on it off of a Yamaha Kodiak 400. This is a 2006 model, but I would say majority of the Yamaha four-wheel drive four-wheelers are going to be similar to this, if not exactly the same. So I've showed a video on how to remove this prop shaft. I did a video on replacing the U-joint here, so I'm essentially just wanted to show you how it comes off here. We've got the nut underneath here. That we've already pulled off, and again, check my other video to remove this yoke set here with the U-joint. And then we've got four 12mm bolts here, and I've removed these just to make it a little bit quicker. If all we're doing is replacing that shaft that goes through that motor there, we don't actually need to mess with this seal. I would suggest putting a new one in when you are doing this, just because you're here and that seal is easy enough to change. So I've pulled those four bolts out there, and then you can just lift this up out of here just like that, and your bevel gear is going to come with it. A lot of times you'll have shims. This one didn't, but I would say majority of the time you'll have shims here, depending on how tight you want this bevel gear connecting to that other bevel gear there. If you want more contact, or if it's, say, getting just slightly loose, you will take shims out that are around here. If it's too tight, it's not spinning freely like it should be, you may want to add shims in there, and you can order those from Yamaha, or we've got them here that just contact me and we can send some out to you. So we've got this assembly here, and then to replace this gear, just tap on this shaft right here and this will pop out of there. Down underneath here we've got this piece here, looks like this, and it's got an area here for this spring to sit in there. And then last is another coupling that sits clear down in here, and it looks like that. This slides over top of a spacer that's down in there, and then that spring slides over top of that. So that is the back side of this. Now I'm going to flip it on the side here, and I'm going to show you how to replace that shaft or pull that shaft out of this motor. We've got our other side of our bevel gear here, which I would suggest replacing all at the same time, and I'll get to the other half of this when we split this case. So I'm going to set this motor down here so you can see it a little bit easier, and I'll show you how to replace this shaft. Now this one's kind of a common problem. People aren't totally sure how this shaft comes out of here. Flip it on the side here. This is the shaft here. A lot of times people will take a hammer or a chisel, start beating your shaft this way, trying to get it out this way. Now you're not going to be able to pull it out of there until you do this. And I will show you exactly what to do here so you're not confused anymore. So we've got a seal here. We're going to need to take that seal out. Now, a couple different options on how to remove that seal. This one, we're replacing this seal already. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a screw and I'm going to run it into this seal here. And you don't want to go too far, but if you go 1/4 inch or so, that'll be enough to be far enough into this seal to be able to pull this out. And then what I do then is grab a pair of side dikes, and I'll kind of use this shaft to pull up against it, and I'll just lift this seal out just like that. Now the seal's out there. Obviously, you're going to want to replace that seal. You want to make sure that when you do this, you don't get into this this piece here, this spacer here, or this shaft, or push too far against this this nut here. Otherwise, you're going to damage it. But this seal here, like I said, if you run it in there, a little over 1/4 inch, maybe. You don't want to go a 1/2 inch. That's plenty enough to get through that tough stuff there and be able to pull against that shaft. So next thing you want to do, I like to grab a Sharpie marker, and I like to mark a spot on here. And what that does then is tell me that if what I'm doing to remove this nut is going the right direction. I'm going to save you a step here. This is reverse threaded, so typically you would tighten the nut like this. This time we grab our chisel here and we hit it, tap it clockwise, and that will loosen this up. Now, once it's loosened up, a lot of times you can just use your fingers then and spin it out. We'll spin it all the way out of there like that. And then we've got our nut here. You can replace it if it didn't take you too much work to tap it out of there. If I'm ordering parts, I'll replace it anyways. If I'm not needing to order parts, so I've got parts here. You can reuse these. You don't want to reuse them more than once because, especially if you're not using the correct spanner wrench there, you can, these will continue to kind of chip away, and that causes damage. So now we're ready to lay this motor flat here. And then what I do is I'll take a larger chisel like this, and I'll just take and tap it out. And you'll be able to feel it start moving there. You can see there it's starting to move. You obviously want to make sure you're not getting into that case there with the chisel. So maybe a little bit smaller chisel would be a better idea. You tap that a couple times and this shaft will just pull right out of there. Now we can replace this shaft if we've got these splines are damaged, the back splines are damaged, or we just need to replace this shaft. That is how you do it. And going back in then, you slide this all the way in, make sure this bearing is on there, and then put your spanner nut back in there like I showed you. Again, reverse threaded, so tighten it up counterclockwise, and then make sure you got a good seal on there, and you're all set. We'll do a couple of videos on this machine, on this motor, and a couple other steps to it. If you have questions or comments, make sure you leave those below. If you've liked this video, it's been helpful, please share it, please subscribe if you can. Thanks a lot for watching.